It all began in a small, dusty workshop on the edge of town, where an old mechanic spent his days repairing broken engines and worn-out parts. He wasn't a man of wealth or comfort. In fact, most days he barely earned enough to keep his tools running and food on his table. Yet what he lacked in money, he made up for in heart. One afternoon, as he worked on a customer's bike, he noticed a woman limping past his shop, clearly in pain. Without hesitation, he rushed to help, offering her a place to rest and checking her injured leg. Though he wasn't a doctor, his care was sincere and his intentions pure. In that moment, he wasn't thinking of payment or recognition, only of easing someone's suffering. Little did he know, that simple act of compassion was about to change his life forever. The woman hesitated at first, unsure whether to trust a stranger covered in grease and oil stains. But something in his gentle voice reassured her. The mechanic carefully helped her sit on a wooden stool, fetched a clean cloth, and began tending to her leg with the same patience he used on delicate engines. He cleaned the wound, wrapped it neatly, and even offered her a cup of tea to calm her nerves. When she tried to offer him some money, he smiled and shook his head. "Keep it," he said softly. "You might need it more than I do." For him, kindness wasn't a transaction. It was a way of life. He didn't realize that his simple gesture, one act of compassion from a man who had so little, would soon circle back to him in ways he could never have imagined. In a world where people often help only when there's something to gain, his act stood out as a rare spark of pure humanity. The mechanic didn't tell anyone about what he'd done. He simply went back to his work the next day, fixing engines and earning just enough to survive. But deep down, that moment had left a mark on him. He felt a quiet sense of peace, knowing he'd done the right thing, even when no one was watching. True kindness, after all, isn't measured by how grand the gesture is, but by the heart behind it. It's about doing good without expecting applause or reward. Sometimes it's the smallest acts, offering help, showing care, or giving time, that create the biggest ripples. And though he didn't know it yet, those ripples were already moving, carrying his goodness back to him in the most unexpected way. A month passed and life went on as usual for the poor mechanic. He still worked long hours, his hands stained with oil and his clothes worn thin. Then one morning, as he opened his shop, a familiar car stopped outside. The same woman stepped out, but this time she looked different, confident, graceful, and smiling warmly. He was surprised to see her again and asked if her leg had healed. She nodded, tears glistening in her eyes, and said she had come to thank him properly. What he didn't know was that she was no ordinary woman. She was a successful business owner who had never forgotten his kindness. That day, she told him she wanted to do something for him, something that would change his life. For the first time in years, the mechanic's hands trembled, not from work, but from disbelief at what he was hearing. The woman explained that his kindness had touched her deeply, and she wanted to give back in a way that truly mattered. She offered to help him rebuild his small workshop. New tools, better equipment, and even a proper signboard bearing his name. At first, he refused, saying he hadn't helped her for any reward, but she insisted that good hearts deserved to be lifted. Within weeks, his dusty, old shop transformed into a bright, bustling garage, attracting more customers than ever before. For the first time, he could afford to dream, to save, to rest, to smile without worry. Yet, even with all his new success, he remained the same humble man, always ready to lend a hand to anyone in need. Because deep down, he knew his fortune wasn't built by chance, but by kindness returned in the most beautiful way. As word spread about the mechanic's story, people began to see him not just as a man who fixed machines, but as someone who fixed hearts through his compassion. His story became a reminder that kindness is never wasted. It always finds its way back, often multiplied. The mechanic never sought fame or fortune. All he ever wanted was to live honestly and help where he could. Yet, life had rewarded him in the most unexpected way, proving that every act of goodness, no matter how small, plants a seed that eventually blossoms. His journey showed that true wealth doesn't come from what we earn, but from what we give. And sometimes, A single act of kindness has the power to transform not just one life, but many. Because in the end, it's not what we have, but what we share that defines who we truly are.